Well, good morning everybody and welcome to Zero Hard Work and a new video. Today we're going to talk about neighbors. Here in Sweden I have neighbors, of course, and I have one neighbor that way and a couple of other neighbors. And one of the neighbors have reported me to my the politicians. I don't know, the county or something like that. I don't know what it's called, but it was a couple of years ago, so it's not recent. But then they accused me, or it wasn't the neighbor the first time, but it was somebody who was here temporary, and they said that I was showering my kids in the basement with a hose, and the kids are having rooms with temporary walls, and an angry father who yells at them and so on. And we had social workers here so they wanted to talk to the kids because they thought that I was mistreating them, but it was just ridiculous. I would never ever do that. Yeah, I get mad and I scream, and the neighbors hear that, so, but never hurt my kids. So the complaint was dropped because there was we have a shower in the basement, but we don't use it, and I certainly don't have a hose in the basement that my kids are showering or I hose them off. That's just ridiculous. And a couple of years later, most recent, or not the most recent, they filed another complaint. This time it was one of the neighbors who said we had dangerous trees on our property, and with dangerous trees they mean like it was a fire hazard, they said. And with dangerous trees they mean trees like that one, and like this, something like this. They said it could could catch fire and burn the whole, everything. Yeah, that's true. These kind of trees burn like gasoline when they are ignited. And they also said we have a compost pile here of branches, or when you cut a hedge we put it over there. And the county was here and they looked at it and I said, that's fine, you can have that there, no problem. So again the complaint went away until, let's call it 6 months ago. Then another neighbor complained about our yard looked messy and there were stuff everywhere, and it is, but it's not messy. They just, so again And this time, the city didn't call us or said anything. They just drove by, and at the time we were replacing our fridge and our freezer. So outside here, behind the van here, there was laying a old fridge and an old freezer that we was supposed to throw away a couple of days later. But at the time when they drove by the city, they were laying out there with a couple of other things, because we were renovating or buying new fridge and freezer. So we got a letter from the city, and they say you have to clean it up and you can't have that there. So we did. And what do you think? It's just like almost like this when the complaint came in. And another, the ridiculous side of this complaint was this complaint was sent in on January the 16th of this year. And here comes the really stupid part of this complaint. They said we didn't mow our lawn. I mean, who mows the lawn in January? Not here, because it's snow and ice and the grass don't grow in the winter. And that was the ridiculous part. And we didn't take care of our yard properly, and as you can see, yeah, the hedges need to be cut down, and we will do that, but that wasn't in the complaint. The complaint was mostly that it's messy and we didn't mow our lawn in January. And I think I'm just baffled by this complaint. I mean, do you cut your lawn in January? Well, maybe if you live in a warmer climate that is sunshine and something like that all year round, you might have to cut your lawn in January. But here in Sweden, not so much. So I was thinking, I'm gonna cut the lawn in January next year, just to annoy somebody, because this is stupid. So yeah, we are not garden people, and the neighbors surrounding us all have perfect gardens, and they land and they take away stuff like this, and everything is perfect. But these people, most of them, are retired. They have nothing else to do but their yard or their property. And I mean, we have 7 kids, although all of them don't live at home anymore. But okay, I can understand stuff like this behind me. This gotta go. It's gotta go. But I think people who are retired, who have too much time on their hands or something like that, because I mean, we like our yard. It's, well, as I filmed here over here, if you sit on our little wooden deck we have here, like this, I mean, it feels like you're sitting in the woods, and it's only behind me you can see the neighbors. You can't see the neighbors much here, And I think that's really cozy and relaxing after a hard day at work. So why should they bother about mine? Because they have all the time in the world to take care of theirs. We like it like this. But of course, every spring we are going like crazy with the chainsaws and cutting down trees and clearing up old branches and stuff like that. So, but during the spring and the summer it grows up again, most of it. So I wish our house maybe where something was really was in the woods with a lake beside it, but it isn't. And we have 10 minutes walk down to the ocean to take a swim and relax. So now I don't care about these things very much. The neighbors are stupid, but my wife does, and she takes it to another level. And I just I worry about it for the moment, but then I let it go. That I'm not friendly with one of the neighbors, or friendly. He has this, I mean, one moment when, this is about 10 years ago, my kids were putting up a tent in the yard and they were having fun and do what kids do. And it was over here, and suddenly I was sitting and watching TV, and suddenly I hear somebody screaming out in the yard. So I went out and found one of the neighbors screaming at my kids and scaring them, really scaring them. Opening the tent and just screamed at them that they should be quiet because he has to go to work tomorrow and he was trying to sleep and their bedroom is right over there. And I went out on our little porch there and told him, "What are you doing?" And then he said I needed a good, I can't say spanking because that's weird, but he wanted to hit me and called me a fat bastard and said many things. And here comes the funny part of this. When he went over a fence back to his yard, he ripped up his trousers or his pants he had on in the groin. And at that moment I should have reported him to the police, but I didn't. And a couple of weeks later he came over with some meat and said, and he said that, "Do you want this?" Yes, I wanted that. And then he throwed, a couple of days later, he threw ice cream into our yard when the kids were there and just went away. And then he's mad again. It's like, his temper is like going up and going down. Now, about a year ago, we got a new neighbor who after another little incident, heard about this, and he went around the neighborhood and talked to the other neighbors and said he was mad at the neighbors who are complaining about us, and said that that they have to leave us alone now that we are doing something and cutting down trees and mowing the lawn and doing all the things. So he was quite mad, and he's quite friendly to us. So I don't know what the other neighbors said. They were probably shocked about this, that somebody took our side in this. I think they don't understand that when you work full time and have 7 kids, and I know that's our choice to have 7 kids, but you don't have the energy to have a perfect property or yard or something like that. So I was wondering, is there anybody out in the world who have neighbors like this, who are crazy sometimes and later they are the nicest people? Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Well, that's the story time for today. What do you think? I think my wife say that I should say hello to the neighbor that I have tried for about 15 years to be friendly, and I never done anything to him, so I'm done. I don't want to see him or talk to him or do anything. Whatever we do is wrong anyway, so he can stay in his property and I stay in mine. That I'm satisfied with that. So that's it. Do you think I'm in the wrong here, or am I holding the grudge too long? I don't think so. Now I'm really hungry, so I gotta eat before I go to work. See you next time, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to hear more of this kind of content. So thanks for watching and listening as usual to my ramblings. Bye bye.